Oh my God, Alex, I just spilled something on myself.
Oh my God, I hope you weren't wearing cashmere. What was it?
Well, it wasn't cranberry sauce.
Boom. Hey guys, it's your favorite final boy and girl, Alex and Emily, coming at you in a new episode of Gag Me with a Knife, a weekly podcast where we dissect, disembowel, and shred the best and worst slasher movies. This month has been renamed the Month of Blood, as our podcast will be highlighting slashers with blood in the title. So for today's episode, we're going to be gagging on 1987's Blood Rage. As always, Emily has the original and priceless VHS copy, so let's hear what the back of that box says.
Todd and Terry are twins. Blonde, cute as buttons, bright and identical in every respect, except one exception. One of them is a murderer. It all started one night at the drive-in when a teenager was slaughtered in the back seat of his car while his girlfriend watched. Todd was found guilty for the heinous crime and locked away in an asylum. Years passed and Terry lived happily with his mother, who smothered him with enough love for the two sons. All was fine until one night when they received news that Todd escaped. The nightmare begins once again, and out of its forbidding darkness steps a maniacal killer, raging for blood. But when which brother is the killer? The truth may not be seen until it's too late. 1987. What are your thoughts?
Okay, so this is like a soap opera slasher with twins, mental hospitals.
Mental hospital. I was so excited.
And copious amounts of self-pity, wine, and sexual frustration. But like, first of all, I want to preface our discussion by saying I was scared once again of a movie being somewhat terrible because of the title that I saw on the credits is not what I clicked to watch. So I had to look it up, and then sadly was confirmed that I learned this is yet another movie with multiple titles. So in addition to Blood
Did it say slasher?
we have Slasher,
okay.
We have Nightmare at Shadow Woods, and then we had another working title called The Complex. So you know when they can't pick a title or there's multiples, I get scared.
The Nightmare one was supposed to be able to be a play on Nightmare on Elm Street, but
I get scared. And then so secondly, this movie exemplifies the biggest dickhead douchebag brother of the century award. So much chaos in this movie, but I really did enjoy it. What are your first thoughts?
I've watched it twice. I watched it probably about 5 or 6 months ago for the first time, and I was only like halfway paying attention. So when I finished it, I was like, it's fine. I mean, I didn't hate it, but I wasn't like, I thought the deaths were cool, but I was just like, okay, whatever. So I watched it again preparing for this podcast, and I liked it a whole lot more this time around. I thought that as much as the actor that plays the twins can be a bad actor, he can also be really good at it because he is really good at even with his facial expressions and stuff, for you being able to tell which twin he is. I also loved Louise Lasser from Mary Hartman. I thought her character was hilarious and bonkers. And I thought the characters were likable enough, like the teenage characters. And the deaths were by far the icing on the cake. They were really, really good. So those are my thoughts.
Yeah, and I love the mother too. And I remembered her growing up. There was a movie I used to watch as a kid, and I know I shouldn't have, as in most movies. It was called Frankenhooker.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So for people who don't know, it's about a medical student. He like has his girl fiance gets her head cut off like during like a lawn mowing accident or something, and so he's trying to like build her a new body made out of all these sex workers out of Manhattan. And anyway, it's Frankenhooker. I mean, it is what the title is. So, but she's the mother in that too. So I thought that I loved her. I thought that she was better. She was the best part of the movie for me, other than some of these cool deaths and the super rad like synthy heavy bass beats. Like,
I love the score. Yeah.
Yes. But as for
which I think we're going to use as our outro, like for every single YouTube exclusive, I think we're going to use the theme for this song as the outro. Yeah.
Nice. And And as for what you said about the guy Mark Soper, whatever, playing both Todd and Terry. So yeah, he did do them differently. He made better facial like one of them seemed kind of scared.
He
and
was
worried.
better as better as Todd than he was at Terry. But I mean, I think that Terry the character lent itself to be more ridiculous. So
yeah, he was supposed to be kind of like this. Yes, like. I don't even know. Again, sexually frustrated, mentally unstable, psycho murderer. I mean, he was supposed to be like that, and the other one looked scared. And you know, the whole point. Well, we'll get to it in a second. But so right when the movie starts, we're going into this drive-in, and it's got a cool little bop at the beginning, and there's.
Ted Raimi is cameoed in that playing.
So the guy giving out condoms in the beginning, I thought it was. I didn't know it was Ted Raimi at first. I thought it was Wormser from Revenge of the Nerds.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, oh, it's Wormser, and I was like, no, it's Ted freaking Raimi. Yeah. And so
it was his first role.
Yeah, so Sam Raimi's younger brother, and he was also and my husband instantly recognized him from Sequest.
Okay.
Of course he would, because he likes that. I mean,
is that the one that kid that killed himself was on? That was in Ladybugs.
Well, how about we also say he was, Bill Denbrough in it? Okay,
Jonathan Brandis, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I like him in Ladybugs more.
So then after this guy's handing out condoms in the bathroom, then it's like everybody from teenagers to adults is like getting high and having sex at this drive-in. This is like not the drive-in I went to growing up. Like, I mean, everybody was blinking their brains out. It was bizarre.
Yeah.
And then it flashes forward to there's this woman, and she looks a little older than she is because she has her hair like in these like cutesy like Mary Peep, or is that her name, Mary Peep or Mary Bo Peep?
Bo Peep. It's just Bo Peep.
Yeah, that's it. I don't know why I'm getting married.
Because Mary had a little lamb.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Two people with sheep.
She's got like sheep herding hair clips. That's what I thought about in her hair, and she's giving off sheep herd realness. That's what it is. And she starts making out with this guy, and she's like, my kids. And he's like, they're asleep. And then the kids wake up, and you hear him in the background go, "Mom's at it again." So I guess mom's a little promiscuous. That's not a shock to her, her children.
So that for those who haven't seen this, that's why we're going to quickly go through. When actually Todd is still asleep, Terry wakes him up.
Right.
And let's go ahead and get this out of the way. Terry is the bad twin. So after Terry sees this, he wakes Todd up, and they sneak out of the car. Mm-hmm. And they go up to some random car where a guy's having sex with a girl, and Terry has a hatchet from where, I don't know. I guess he got it from the back of the car.
Yeah, he picked it up at the back of someone's truck.
I don't understand why people are, whatever.
It's any confusion we have, it's fucking Jacksonville. I'm just saying.
That is true. It's filmed in Florida, so.
No disrespect. I love my Jacksonville.
Yeah, well, I mean, but there's a reason that something weird happens in Florida on everyone's birthday. So Terry hatches the teen having sex with his girlfriend, and then after he does that, he like wipes blood onto Todd, and he gives Todd the hatchet, so he's able to blame Todd because Todd is too traumatized to speak, and then he is sent to a mental hospital.
Yeah, I guess seriously, I don't know if he had suffered trauma from watching his twin murder somebody, or just seeing a dead person, or being like, dude, bro, we're bros. You just literally fucking fucked me over here. So he goes catatonic and goes into the mental hospital.
So 10 years later, we're back at the mental hospital, which I think was a scene that they had taken out of the original cut when it first came out, was the nightmare, that nightmare at Shadow Woods. And if they had taken this out, I wouldn't understand what the hell was going on. But I don't know if they took out the whole scene. I know they had taken out where the mom was going to visit, so I guess it would have been the whole scene. We got that really weird overdub of the doctor talking, which is kind of unnecessary.
It was super unnecessary, except I liked when she said, and due to my experience in calming down lunatics or whatever, she was like, hostile patients or whatever, I was able to subdue the mother.
So yeah, who is maybe the biggest lunatic of all. So,
but can we? Go ahead. I was gonna say my favorite part of this whole scene though is when she gives him a pumpkin pie.
Oh, and he just like
He
destroying it.
opens it up and he starts smushing it in his hands, and I'm like, okay, maybe he's on some heavy.
It made
like,
me want to like
sedations.
get clean. I was like, that is a
Yeah.
mess.
Then he stands up and he pulls a Ricky from Sleepaway Camp. You know when Ricky, he's like, it's the water balloon scene on the roof or whatever.
Oh my God! Yeah.
And he shakes his head real fast and whips it away.
He does that in he does it then, and then he also does it when he has the cowboy hat on, or like after the cowboy hat
dance
fight.
Yeah. Well,
let's get you out of here before your mouth gets you into any more trouble, and then he like quickly just like turns away.
So Todd does this, but he ups the ante a little bit by slinging this pumpkin pie all over the wall, which is like 1.5 feet in front of him, and I was dying. It was so funny. And the mom's just sitting there like, oh my god.
And all the while, the doctor is trying to explain to the mom that she does not think Todd did this. She thinks Terry's done it.
Yeah, it's like he started talking again and remembering and expressing his memories of that night, and she's not believing her. And
yeah, the mom doesn't, which is, I mean, I get that it's kind of hard to believe because you've had it's a lot. You've had the wrong son in the hospital for so long, but like, come on, like.
Right.
Don't like, I don't know, the whole movie, that you will get to that.
Yeah.
Like the fact that she just doesn't want to believe it.
The fact that she clearly, for some reason, this whole movie has Todd still not literally but figuratively feeding at her nips the whole movie.
You mean Terry?
Weird. Sorry, God damn it, I'm gonna do that a bunch. Yes, yeah, Terry.
She's like obsessed with Terry.
She's obsessed. Yeah, and he's obsessed with her.
Yeah, I know. So so after this scene, we cut to a Thanksgiving dinner where it is, they're in the mom's apartment. She lives in an apartment complex. I guess he does live with her, but like it seems like everyone else has kind of been away at college or something. So I mean, it never really says, but in all the synopses it says he lives with her. But you know, he could very well have been in college and like come home and been visiting for Thanksgiving. But anyway,
right.
So he's there with his mom. Her name is Maddie.
Mm-hmm.
The mother's boyfriend, who also happens to be the landlord, and his name is what's his name? Brad. Yeah. And then so some random girl named Andrea that also lives in the complex, and then Terry's girlfriend Karen, who had been in, I think she had been away and come back. And during that dinner, Mom announces that she's marrying the landlord, Brad, and Terry's super weird about it. So,
I think what brings up the weirdness is that he starts toasting their engagement with milk.
Oh yeah, because he's like a really obnoxious, self-righteous teetotaler.
Yeah, so like he doesn't drink. He kills that one person. He doesn't like his mom. Their mom's at it again. Then he kills this one dude and his girl having sex. And so this is just the start of like he's really overly, I don't know, self-righteous. Is that the word? There's something wrong.
He's for sure sanctimonious.
There we go, sanctimonious. And then murder is not above him, or beneath him. But he's going to toast with milk, doesn't drink the whole movie, and he really gets offended when there's like anything about sex brought up.
So then right after this toast, I guess, or shortly after, they get a phone call, or the mom goes to pick it up, and she gets Terry in there, and she's got a phone call from the hospital that says that Todd has run away from the mental hospital.
Yeah.
And she's like, just don't say anything when we go back to the table, because
please say it. Yeah.
She's like, please don't say anything, because I don't want to ruin Thanksgiving dinner. Well, as soon as they sit down, he's like, well, my crazy brother escaped the mental hospital.
Yeah, he goes, my psychotic brother just escaped. Can you pass the green beans, please? Like literally no pause, just went right on.
So the doctor I guess so. Like soon after the doctor,
very soon after, they just show up.
The doctor and her weird assistant Jackie.
Mm-hmm, he's super weird.
Yeah, and he has like a taser. And when the mom comes out, she's like, again.
And can we also talk real quick? When he showed up and he was wearing Nike, I was like, is this an ad for Nike?
Yeah,
like, everybody's wearing fucking Nike. I wrote this.
There is so much Nike product placement in this movie.
Yes, everybody's wearing Nike.
So they show up because they think that Todd has come to the complex.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're looking for him. At this point, Brad tells them that he'll help them. He like explains the lay of the land, I guess. And then he goes to his office.
Yeah, and by the way, 10 acres is not that big. I mean, I get this is an apartment complex, but he's like, oh, we got 10 acres. You could search 10 acres in a half an hour. Like,
yeah, I know. My farm, our farm is like 50 something, and I can walk that in like 20 minutes. But okay.
But right when the doctor shows up, she goes, I'm the doctor. And then the mom goes, oh my God, did you find him? And she just, nope. Again, no pause. She's like, no, I haven't even looked yet.
Yeah.
But it's like,
no, I just got here, bitch. I mean, like.
She goes, and she shoos her hand, like waves it like, no, I haven't even looked yet. And then like, she's just got her henchman over there or whatever, just has a gun. Like, okay.
And okay, did this whole time, like the doctor, I would think that she'd be a little more like apprehensive about Terry, but did she actually think it was Terry? I mean, she thought it was Terry, right?
Yes. So she thought it was him. So she didn't even flinch.
She didn't even. Yeah, exactly. I'm like, why wouldn't you like do something about that?
Because she's so confident that it is not Todd that she's like, I'll be fine. Don't worry, Jackie. You go there. I'm going into the woods. She's like, but wait, give me the gun.
What about Terry?
Exactly. Like, what about Terry?
Like, to be afraid of him.
But she's not afraid. But she's not afraid. But then she still wants the gun.
And then they immediately, she and Jackie immediately split up. So
yeah, and then we cut to
Brad is in his office, and he's drinking I think it's Old English or something. Is it an Old English? I think something like that.
It was a weird name, and it had like that Gaelic font, but
yeah, I think it was Old English. So he's drinking a beer.
And we hear that synth that's with the sweet beats, and we're like,
sorry, I had written the wrong name. Terry. So Terry comes in, he chops Brad's hand off, and it just shows this like cool shot of the hand still like grasping, like twitching with the beer. Yeah. And then he splits his head open with the machete.
So, and like there's really good blood effects in this movie.
Yeah, the effects are great. The effects are probably like the best reason to watch the movie, honestly. But
and at this point too, we have seen Terry kind of like, or maybe we just see him right after this. Sorry, Todd, right after this. And both of the twins, now, albeit they're different, but they're both wearing blue and white striped shirts. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
For now.
But the whole movie, we know the difference because Todd always has like a little permy hair. And
his hair is like,
Terry's is blow dry and super lush.
Yeah. So after the Brad situation, Terry finds he walks up on Jackie, and at first I think Jackie is like, you want to like smoke some weed or something, and he's like, nope. And then he I think he stabs him in the gut. Yeah,
and then Jackie grabs Terry's shoulder and kind of leans into him, and he's like, like the scream he did.
His scream is good.
But right before, Terry walks up, Jackie's going, he's a lunatic. And I'm like, I wonder, he's singing lunatic to the song Maniac. Yeah. And I was like, okay. And then when Terry walks up, he's pulling like an Angela sort of at the end of Sleepaway Camp 3 where he's got the gun behind her back, but it's a machete. And I'm like, first of all, that's super weird, dude. And then right before he gets stabbed, Jackie's like, I just can't get over how much y'all look alike. And I'm like, you're fucking twins. What do you mean you can't get over it?
Why can't you get over it?
Like, I mean,
they're not fraternal twins, they're identical twins.
Right. Like
is the word identical would be indicative of looking exactly the same.
Right. He's like, I just can't get it. Or they're trying to make it sound like he's high after 3 seconds of his first toke. I don't know.
So after his death is my favorite death.
Oh my God. Yes. Go into it, Queen.
So Terry finds Dr. Berman and he cuts her in half. Then he changes out of his bloody shirt and puts on a sweet tank top. But this, you didn't like the tank top. I liked the tank top. It cuts away to something else, but then when it cuts back and her body is like
in half.
It is amazing.
Like, did Jason Voorhees ever cut somebody in half? Like, maybe.
I mean, maybe, but it wasn't shown.
But so I was like, oh my, because like I didn't expect it to come back and her legs be separated from her torso. Like it was a total. It was amazing. Like, it was so shocking.
Apparently they had wanted to make originally wanted it to look like the legs were still trying to run away for like a short period of time, but the effect didn't they filmed a bit of that. I don't think the effect looks stupid. Like, I think it looks stupid or done something like that. I don't know. But so after that, after Terry's changed into his sweet tank top, or sleeveless shirt, he goes to the apartment where Andrea, that random girl that was at Thanksgiving dinner, is babysitting for this woman named Julie, who's on a date with this guy named Bill, and she has a baby. So Andrea's babysitting. And Terry goes over there
real quick, because this is going to be a pattern throughout the movie. Between Jackie's death and Dr. Berman's death, it cuts to my favorite scene of the whole movie, which is all of a sudden you see Maddie, the mom, just sitting on the kitchen floor with the fridge open, all of the Thanksgiving leftovers out, and she's just shoveling food in her mouth.
So while we go, like, I will continue going through like the big points, but just note that in between these scenes, you see the mom doing, like, she's become totally OCD. So the first time you see her, she's sitting in front of the refrigerator, just like stuffing her face with the Thanksgiving leftovers. Then another time you see her drinking wine and vacuuming.
Yeah. Well, the next thing is she's trying to call the police or the operator, and she's literally
the operator's after the vacuum.
She calls the operator to it. No, that's when she's on the couch. This is when she's on the couch twice.
Okay. The couch one is hilarious.
She calls that one after she takes a shower, but then after she's put to bed, after she's vacuuming, right after she's shoveling food, then it goes to her with a cigarette in her hand, pouring in like an entire bottle of wine into this glass to the rim. And then right after Dr. Berman's killed, it shows her vacuuming with wine in her hand. And we've at some point.
I've got the couch conversation in.
Yeah, and then in between all of this too, between her pouring wine and vacuuming, then she's like cleaning the oven.
Yeah, and then at some point she finds a bloody shirt that Todd's changed out of. But
that's when we'll get. But
okay, so Terry, right now Terry's at Andrea's apartment, and so she's like kind of trying to seduce him, I think, but he's like a total teetotaler, self-righteous, sanctimonious asshole, and is like, yeah, I don't drink. And then he's like, they're watching TV, and he's like, why is there so much violence on television? And then Bill and Julie come home, and so they leave. So that's the end of that scene.
Yeah, she's like, because the girl he's going to kind of hang out with, the babysitter, she's like, we can have vodka or tomato juice and vodka. He's like, just the tomato juice, please. I'm like,
so annoying. So then we cut to Karen, who she's outside doing something. I don't know what she's doing, but she thinks she sees Terry, and she tells him that she's ready to have sex.
She's like, she's like, it's like a matter of fact. She's like, so I've just decided, like, yeah, I want to make love to you.
I think it's because like he wasn't really, but she talks about how like since she's come home from college, he hasn't paid as much attention to her. And I really think she's like just trying to do it to keep him. Honestly, that's what I got from it. But anyway,
at the beginning of the movie, I think that makes sense at the beginning. And I don't know if it's the girl that's the babysitter or if it's a different girl, but there's these two joggers that come by them playing a game of football.
Oh, it's Karen. Yeah.
It is the babysitter.
No, it's the girlfriend. It's the girlfriend.
Oh, that's who he's talking to?
Yeah.
Oh, well, never mind that.
So she says she's ready to have sex. And so, he says, well, I'm Todd. and I've never kissed a girl.
And I've never kissed a girl before. Move on.
And so she's like, oh, okay, well, sorry. Okay, well, talk to you later. You should try it. Bye. And she runs away.
Like, gotta go. Run. Okay, see you, deuces.
So she runs into her friends, Greg and Artie, who then run into also Terry and Andrea, who are leaving the place where they were babysitting, which, if I was Karen, I would be like questioning that because she was already questioning her at the dinner table. So
yeah,
whatever.
Yeah.
But they're apparently supposed to go to this party at Andrea's, which it seems like, who was invited? Like, it's not a good party, so whatever. So it's, yeah, I guess they're, it was supposed to be presumably after she was finished babysitting. So
Yeah, what party? It's just two people playing video games.
yeah, I know. So whenever Karen's like, well, I just saw Todd. So Terry just like runs. He flees this scene.
Well,
he's like, goes, I'm going to go find him.
At first he goes, are you sure? She's like, I wouldn't joke about this. Not with you.
Yeah.
I'm like, and yeah.
So that leaves Artie, Karen, Andrea, and Greg. And instead of like, if it was me and I thought there was like a psychopath that had escaped a mental hospital on the loose in my apartment complex, I wouldn't just be so like laissez-faire and be like, well, let's just go to this party. Let's just go to Andrea's and have this party. Mm-hmm. But that's exactly what Karen, Andrea, Greg, and Artie do. They go to Andrea's, and that is when the mom cuts to mom, and she finds Todd. That's actually when she starts compulsively eating, drinking, and cleaning, because she knows he's at the complex. Like, she's figured it out for some reason.
Oh yeah. Well, she just assumes, because she definitely just assumes he's come there as well. Like she's. And then
Todd finds the doctor's body, and he takes her gun. But, he seems kind of upset, but then he's like, why didn't, like, he's like upset she's dead, but then he's like, why didn't you help me more? Like, yeah,
I'm like it's literally where you could look at her.
You're literally looking at half of her body.
And then look to the left and see the other half of her, and pan back to the right and see the other half of her. And he's like, why didn't you help me more?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe because my whole body's cut in half. Like, okay. So at this point, off screen, okay, it cuts to where Julia and Bill, the people who Julia has the baby, and she was on the date with Bill. So it cuts to them, and they're in the apartment, and Julie's like, Bill, who also happened to be the makeup artist for the movie, he's makes some stupid jokes. He's clearly awkward. She's going to go put on something more comfortable. And so he's killed off screen while she's putting on lingerie. And when she comes out, she finds his head, and she's stabbed to death.
Yeah. Well, she's not stabbed yet. She's not stabbed for like another, I don't know.
I know. Well, you don't actually see her death though.
Yeah, you do.
You do?
Yeah, you walk. Karen walks in.
I thought Karen just walked in after and found her dead.
Okay, so yeah, this is Bill. She walks. She thinks that Bill's at the door. She looks at the peephole and she sees his face. She opens the door and sees his head hanging, cut off from an extension cord from the stairs. That's at 42 minutes in. Karen walks in on Julie having a machete pulled out of her chest about 20 minutes later.
Yeah, you're right. So
okay. Yeah, we're
okay, so cut to
but that head hanging from the extension cord was one of the coolest scenes as well. Like, it was a really cool special effect.
Yeah, the guy that did the makeup, that guy, he's amazing. So then we cut to this really fun party at Andrea's, where they're just taking turns play. Well, first Andrea's teaching Karen how to drink tequila, and then Artie and Greg are playing some stupid video game, and then Greg wants to fuck Andrea, I guess. So like Karen starts playing video games with Artie, and that goes on for a little bit too long because I don't care. And
if they weren't playing Mario Party, we don't want to talk about it, or GoldenEye.
Yeah, right, exactly. So Andrea and Greg leave the room, and then, like, at some point, Karen and Artie go to find them, and they are, like, pretending to be dead in the room and scare them. And then they all end up splitting up at this point. So Andrew and Greg go to the pool.
They go to the tennis courts before the pool.
They do go to the tennis courts before the pool, but I mean,
they shower and they get all the blood cleaned off their bodies. And Terry is in there watching her shower.
Blood cleaned off their bodies.
Yeah, they had fake blood on that.
Right. Sorry, yeah. I was like, okay.
And while all this has been going on, I don't know. I lost track of how many times Karen was telling every single person. Yeah, and like Todd said, he'd never even kissed a girl before. And I wanted to be like, did you preface this with, hey, I want to fuck your brains out because I think you're Terry? No, you just basically keep
No.
saying she just keeps
Yeah,
the whole story is about her narrative.
Him. You keep
Yes,
embarrassing him, and you
over
won't
and
tell
over.
anyone that you just flung yourself at the wrong person.
And because at the end of the day, no one knew, no one's embarrassed other than you. And it's like, first of all, that's probably the least of everyone's worries if they think he's murdering people. Oh, he's never kissed anybody before. I mean, why do you keep telling the story, girl?
That's that's not why he's killing people. So
yeah, and before we get to the tennis courts kind of stuff, with everyone split up and they're two separate groups, Terry goes back to his mom's apartment and puts her back to bed again. And every time we see her, she's like being put to bed or getting back out of bed.
Is Terry putting her to bed or Todd? It's Terry. Okay.
It's Terry at this point. Yeah. He's trying to put her to bed because basically he knows he's going to go out and kill everybody, I think. Because he knows everyone out here is over here doing sex. So he's going to like put her to bed.
Yeah. Good thing Karen didn't bring it up. But
she comes, every time she gets put in bed, she just screams and cries and starts guzzling more wine. I mean, she's a total mood, and I love her. Yeah, she is. Like that's how I want to. That's how I spend my Thanksgiving night, but minus the murder.
So they moved from the tennis court to the pool, and this is Greg and Andrea, and they're pretty quickly murdered. This isn't a big, this is just a slash here, a slash there. They're on the diving board, and they both.
It's a really cool sex scene, though. Like, I mean, it's kind of hot, and tennis was kind of fun too, and you can kind of see Terry playing a game with them there. But then when they're at the pool, it's more of Terry's whatever inner demons, because he goes, "Hey, stop that!" and then like slashes them both with a machete. Yeah, it's pretty cool. But stop that! Like he is so. He's an
incel, is what he is.
Yeah, like let people have sex, let people have their own lives, get out of their facials. Like I don't know what he's doing. Take a chill lozenge and move on. Don't kill him.
So then we kind of take Artie and Karen here on a bridge.
Oh yeah.
They're like hanging out, whatever. It's cute little. I mean, they're just friends. Who cares? And then Terry scares them by jumping from under the bridge and grabbing, I think, Karen's ankles. Who then like runs away.
Yeah.
Even though Terry comes out and is like, "It's just me. It's just me." Well, she leaves anyway. And so the Artie and Terry are talking, and he's like. Terry's standing kind of behind Artie, and he stabs him in the neck with a carving fork. And this is where he really starts saying, "It isn't cranberry sauce. It isn't cranberry sauce." Every time he looks at blood, he just talks about how it's not cranberry sauce.
Like I get it. Make it Thanksgiving themed, right? Like keep reminding us this is a Thanksgiving movie.
He says about 40,000 times.
At least. And so, yeah, while this is happening, and Julie's, sped away. Now she's trying to get help. Not Julie, Karen. And she ends up in Julie's
because she's kind of figured out the truth. So she goes to Julie's. She finds she finds them.
She walks into the apartment, and she walks into the back bedroom, and right when she walks in, Terry is pulling the machete out of Julie's chest.
But how did he have that much time? How did he have time to get there from?
How did he get from freaking slashing Greg and Andrew in the pool to being under the bridge in the woods? I mean, he's clearly teleporting. He's a magician.
Well, anyway, Karen takes the baby because she wants to save the baby. Yeah, I guess that's what you do.
It's kind of like when
Hills Have Eyes.
Hills Have Eyes, and Jessica Biel takes the baby in the Texas Chainsaw remake. And I remember when that first scene, when we first watched that movie, back in 2003 when it came out, you had said, of course Jessica Biel's going to save the baby. This isn't Seventh Heaven. Run, bitch.
I know.
You're like, stop saving everybody.
And I'm, what? I saw that. I think it was you. We saw I saw in the theater with my dad. You might have been with us.
I was with you. It was me, you, and your dad.
Oh my God. And I said that in front of my dad. Oh,
yeah.
Well. Okay. Then it comes to my favorite part. Okay. My favorite part of the whole movie. Mom is calling the operator.
Oh God.
And she's sitting on the couch, and like I wish I had a sound clip of her. Like she's wasted, and she's just
she is wasted,
crying, and she's like, "I need to get a hold of Look, you do it. You probably remember it better than I.
Oh, I don't remember. I don't remember the word for word because I was laughing during so much of like what she's saying. I don't remember the word for word. But she's like, I mean, she's just basically begging, and I'm like, I don't know who she's calling. Like, I don't know if it's 911 or the operator.
It's just an operator.
So I'm like, and finally she's like, okay, thank you. And she calls the wrong number at one point. Like, I mean, she's literally drunk dialing. I mean, it's just
she's like hysterically shrieking at like to connect her to Brad. She's like, I need to not to the police. She's like, connect me with Brad. I need to talk to him.
Yeah, I'm like, just walk 2 doors down, girl.
Why don't you just get
she's very fucking wasted. Oh, she does. You're right. She does. But she's just so she's been drinking for hours.
And she's just crying
like
and
guzzling.
She's talking to her about stuff that she doesn't need to be talking to, like just like random stuff that she's like just basically like, can I please talk to you? I need a friend. So I like that scene. So then at the same time, Terry, Karen, and the baby are all at the pool, and then Todd shows up to fight Terry. Karen pulls Todd out of the pool, and then Mom appears because after the operator call, Mom has gone, I guess, figured out, well, I might as well just walk to his office
next door.
Yeah. And so she goes and she sees that Brad's dead. So even though she found Terry's bloody shirt, she still think, in her head it's Todd still. And so she shows up. I don't know how she knows her at the pool, but she shows up. And
it's a nice pool. It's like a covered indoor like gym, like a pool you'd find in like a university. It's a very nice.
It looks different also than the pool that they. I mean, I know it's the same pool, but it looks different to me than the pool like from the earlier scene to me.
Because I think it's because of the different angle and the lighting.
It is because you can't tell it's like indoor in the first scene.
But it did look different. It looked more. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
So Mom appears and shoots and kills Terry.
Shoots him. She's just boom, 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 boom.
4 times. But she thinks she's killed Todd. So then, she's hugging on Todd because she has,
And she's like, that son of a bitch, he's the worst. It's just us now. It's going to be you and me. You're my favorite. Todd is nothing. Todd is dead. Terry, my life is incomplete without you. You're the moon of my stars. You're the love of my life. And then what happens?
And then we have this weird fucking scene. So Todd says,
then Todd goes,
I'm Todd. And then she's like, he stands up. She's just still sitting there, and he starts repeating, screaming, I'm Todd. I'm Todd. And then she starts saying it at the same time.
I was wondering, I had to rewatch that scene a few times. I was like, all of a sudden she's saying something, and then all of a sudden
they are both screaming, I'm Todd.
It morphs into, because that's not what she starts out screaming. Then it morphs into her. It's kind of like if any of our listeners.
What is she saying at first?
I don't remember, but it morphs into I'm Todd. Like she's not even saying that coherently, because it gave me vibes for anyone listening. In one of the later seasons of Game of Thrones, when we find out Hodor, his name is like a shortened version of hold the door. So it's him screaming, hold the door, Hodor. Like, I don't know what was going on with the scene, and the music was out of control, and everyone is screaming and crying. But she morphs into saying, Todd. Like, it was so
she's
weird.
Screaming, I'm Todd, and then she gets her gun that she used to kill Terry with. And I can't remember if Karen runs out. I think Karen runs out with the baby right after this, but
yeah.
And then so Maddie/Mom picks up the gun and shoots herself in the head, and
and then Karen takes that baby, and she makes this kind of like, oh shit, she dead, and like she bolts, like it's like the weirdest like on her face, and she's just gone. Like, I mean, no explanations, no words. It's just kind of like, well, God, she's gonna be fucked for life.
No, I think that her face said like, oh my God, like what
it was just it was so it was so abrupt.
And then that's the end of the movie and it's it's a pretty nasty like little ending of a slasher movie. You don't like it's not happy.
Yeah, and so like this was a pretty like this is only like 80 minutes movie. It's a very short movie, especially for a slasher.
Well, not especially for a slasher, but
I mean, most of them are at least 90. I mean, 10 minutes makes a difference.
Oh yeah, I know. I've seen where that 10 minutes made a huge difference.
They do sometimes. I'm not being facetious here.
No, I agree with you. 10 minutes does make a huge difference. Like, I mean, if
I would have loved 10 more minutes of her eating food on the floor.
Me too.
I mean, because she was a total mood. I think that as like out of control as she was, I think her character was essential to like.
Her character was totally essential.
Everything about this movie, because it's like, I think that half the film was just her losing her mind and screaming at this operator. I don't know.
Oh my God, the operator scene is just like it. Just that scene in itself is enough to just watch the whole movie. That and the woman who gets cut in half. Like, so I do have some fun facts. Would you like to hear them? I don't care. I'm going to tell you anyway. So
as long as you tell me, first you have to answer me a question, yes or no, and then I'll let you. Okay. I don't care what your answer is, but I need to know. I've been dying to know yes or no.
Are you going to ask me the question? Or do you just want me to say yes or no? Okay. I was like,
do you like cranberry sauce?
No.
Okay. Go on. Go on with the facts.
I mean, I might like it now. I don't know. I like putting crayon raisin things and stuff. So
I just last night when I was making dinner, I would just like had this urge to eat cranberry sauce. I was like, oh, it's because I've seen this movie 3 times in 2 days.
Yeah. So, okay, there are a few things that we already said. It was filmed in 83. It did not get released till 87. It was first released as Nightmare at Shadow Woods to I guess, play off of the success of Nightmare on Elm Street because, one of the taglines for the Nightmare at Shadow Woods was "Not all the evil is on Elm Street." So it was released.
You know what? That makes sense. I didn't realize that. The 83 to 87, because this movie to be 87, I was expecting. Other than the mom, like I was expecting the movie itself to be a little sillier because it has an early 80s vibe because it was filmed in 83. Yeah. Oh, interesting. That makes sense.
So so it was first released in theatrically in 87 under the Nightmare title. But it was heavily censored and most of the gore was cut, as was the beginning, as was like a lot of the scene. I don't know how much of the beginning scene where at the mental hospital was cut out. It might have been the whole thing because it said somewhere it was where like the mom's going there. So I'm assuming the whole thing. And like you said, the working title was Complex, which I mean made sense. It was in a complex. The writer of the movie is Bruce Rubin, who actually wrote Jacob's Ladder and Ghost. So I thought that was interesting. The mom was played by Louise Lasser.
And he did Zapped and Zapped Again.
Right. I was more just like, saying the ones that he was critically acclaimed for. But
Zapped is a very iconic movie.
Well, I'm saying he won an Oscar, I think, for Ghost. So
as a writer?
Yeah, I think so. For screenplay. I know he was nominated. I don't know.
That's fine.
So in Louise Lasser, as I said earlier, she was in Mary Hartman, which was a weird, like parody of a soap opera that came out in the 70s, which I think she kind of brought some of that to this movie.
She did bring it. That's one reason I think I got some soap. I mean, my very first intro to the review, whatever, was the soap opera of slashers, and I think that it was her experience bringing that, and I loved that. I loved it. It was different.
And so we had special effects was done by Ed French, who's super famous now, and he also played Bill in the movie. I'm gonna quickly go through some of the movies. Okay. Yeah. So some of them are not going to be, as good as others. So he did, he was credited as doing the makeup illusions for Sleepaway Camp. He did the makeup for Sleepaway Camp. Amityville 2, Chud, The Stuff, Breeders, Necropolis, Creepshow 2, House on Tombstone Hill, aka Dead Dudes in the House, which is a movie I really like. Terminator 2. He did the special effects in Terminator 2. Star Trek 6, White Chicks. Venom, The Black Dahlia, Midnight Meat Train, which is that movie with Bradley Cooper. He did the special effects from Return to Sleepaway Camp, even though it's a Paul Blart Mall Cop. Terminator Salvation, Sinister 2. He's done some episodes of Westworld, The Office, and his most recent was he did the special effects in the new SpongeBob movie. So
and he also did a couple episodes in Buffy
and Tales from the Crypt.
And he did also original Sleepaway Camp.
That's what I said.
You said Return to Sleepaway Camp.
No, I said both. I said he did the makeup. He was credited as doing makeup illusions in Sleepaway Camp. It was the first thing I said.
I was wondering. I was like, what are illusions?
Well, I mean, it was he did the makeup.
So I was so stuck on the word illusions, and now yes, because I was like, what are illusions? And I didn't hear you say.
I know. That's what it's. I was just saying that's what it said. So
gotcha.
The producer was Marianne Cantor, who was also played the Doctor. She ended up playing the Doctor because the actress just didn't show up. But you know what? You know what? Female producer, and she busted her ass. The reason it was filmed in Florida is because most of her backing, the money-wise, was from people in Florida. But she worked her ass off getting the money to pay to produce this movie, and slow clap for her being a female producer in 1983, making a fucking movie.
Hells yeah, and again, it's not a bad movie. I mean,
it's not.
It had really God.
And you can watch it on Amazon, by the way.
Yeah. It's on Prime included with Prime currently. So.
So it was released in 87 theatrically, like I said, but it was heavily cut. Most of the gore was cut out. Then it was released the same year as Blood Rage by Prism Entertainment. Though the opening credits confusingly identified the film title as Slasher.
Preach.
But it included a lot more of the gore, as well as the early scene missing from the nightmare release of Maddie visiting Todd at the mental hospital. And I do think, and I wrote, I do think as much as he, as the character of Terry, Terry can be cheesy. I think the actor, especially I know he maybe had done some stage stuff. This is one of his first things, and playing two characters like that, especially his role as Todd, I think he did a really good job.
I think he did a good job.
I think he did a good job, not only the acting, but the physical acting. He made himself look different. And I don't just mean he had his hair different. I mean the way he stood, the way that his mannerisms.
Well, there was a lot of you could see a different level of, I don't know if it was confidence or arrogance or
he would hunch over more when he was Todd.
Yeah, because I think that was some inferiority, kind of victim, kind of psychological. I totally get that. And I didn't like him as Terry. I don't think you were supposed to, but I also think maybe you were supposed to, because he was supposed to be this athletic,
the one that everyone liked, and
charismatic,
she clearly had. Mom clearly had a hard time believing that she didn't want to know. She did not want to know that Terry had actually been the one that did it all this time, and that she had put her other son in a mental hospital for ever for 10 years. So now I want to we'll go through the kills, because I think and this one, Alex and I talked about this a little bit, before we started recording. But when we were looking this stuff up, just so we knew that we had all the kills, this we usually get. You go to the same website I go to. It's a wiki, body count kind of thing.
There's always a wiki fandom page, yeah.
And so this is the first time, though, I've seen them put how many, they put the death and how far into the movie the death happened, which I thought was really cool, because then you get to see how quick, also how a director works with, how long they think they need to go in between where something's happening. You know what I mean?
Totally.
So, okay.
Yeah.
We have our first kill, which is the kid at the drive-in. He's hacked 2 times in the face with a hatchet. That's 5 minutes into the movie. And then after that, you would expect for there to be a longer amount of time that goes after the, especially when you have a delay in time, so it's 10 years later. You expect that there's gonna be a wait for another kill. That's right. Normal. So okay. So the second kill is Brad. the landlord slash Maddie slash mom's new fiance. His hands cut off and his head split in half with a machete, and that's 21 minutes into the movie. So we've got our first kill within 16 minutes of the first one, which is kind of crazy. Number 3 is Jackie, the weird assistant to Dr. Berman, and he's stabbed through the gut with a machete. That's at 23 minutes in, so that was 2 minutes later. And then you have Dr. Berman, who's cut in half with a machete, 25 minutes in, so that's another 2 minutes. And then the next kill is Bill, which is off screen, but you do see the aftermath, and he's decapitated. That's 42 minutes in. So there's a 17-minute window between the Dr. Berman kill and the Bill off screen kill.
And the time between is much needed to get us into the loving headspace of Maddie, the mother, and her OCDs and her
and you need to get into like the kids, like and the kids have to meet up. Like you have to, like a bunch of stuff. You can't just have kill after kill. You have to have like other stuff happening in the movie. So
no, I get it. I just wanted to say like most of these breaks, it's either going to be all these breaks. It's either going to be the kids telling. It's either going to be Karen saying he's never kissed a girl, Terry saying it's not cranberry sauce, or the mother drinking wine. But it's amazing.
Yep. and like just stuffing her face with whatever is in front of her. So after that off-screen kill, we have Greg, who was slashed and killed with a machete on the diving board. That's 54 minutes in. So that's 12 minutes after we had the off-screen Bill death. And then at the same time, at 54 minutes, we have Andrea, who is also slashed and killed with a machete in her, like she's mainly slashed in the face. And apparently that effect was done the same way that the effect in The Exorcist was done whenever he goes and he sees the words like "help me" on her stomach.
Yeah.
That's how they did that effect. So
that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're on to the 8th death now, which is Artie. He's stabbed in the neck with a carving fork, and that's 1 hour in. So my
question is, why did he let go of the machete? All of a sudden, it's just everyone's been a machete. Why is he a carving fork?
I don't know. I don't know.
Right?
Yeah.
Where'd it go? Yeah. Anyway.
Thanksgiving, I guess. So that's 6. So you got 6 minutes after the last death, and then. Number 9, you have Julie, who is found stabbed in the chest with a machete 1 hour and 5 minutes in. So that's 5 minutes later. Then 10 is Terry. He's shot at least 4 times by Maddie and perhaps drowns as well because he's in the pool. And that's an hour and 13 minutes in. So which you would expect because you have to have the showdown between Todd and Terry. And then and you have to have Maddie come in. So but it's still only like 6 minutes, I think. Or something like what's 13 minus 5? No, 8 minutes. 8 minutes. Sorry.
I was like, what math? I was like, this is that new math?
I was looking at the wrong thing, and then I wouldn't want to do math. Okay, so then as our last death, number 11, we have Maddie, and she's killed with a self-inflicted gunshot wound, and that happens at 1 hour and 16 minutes, which is 3 minutes after the death of Terry.
So there's 3 minutes of this. In these 3 minutes is when we have Maddie being like, "Thank God Todd's dead."
And
Terry,
you have
favorite,
I'm Todd.
And I'm Todd. And
I'm Todd.
It seems like a lot longer than 3 minutes. I'm just gonna say it was insane.
I kind of liked it though, and
it was good, but it was a long time.
I thought it was, and not even in like a weird, quirky way. Like I thought it was creepy.
Yeah, the mom brought it. The mom brought a lot of quirky, creepy, everything. I think this movie would have been totally different if the mom was somebody else.
Yeah, that I think that she knew how to act in a certain way because of Mary Hartman.
Yeah,
and I think she really brought that kind of essence. I don't know if that's the right word, but
I like the word essence. Yeah, bottle it up and give it to me.
So, yeah, those were the kills. And what are you going to rate it?
I'm going to give it a solid 3 out of 5.
Yeah, I think I'm going to give it a 3.5.
Yeah, I mean, it was, surprisingly good. I mean, I watched it 3 times in 2 days, so I clearly enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's a different, and I am not a fan of the earlier slashers as much because they are darker, and this definitely is a dark. It does get dark at the end, but there are a lot of moments that are just like lighthearted and fun that make it, and especially with the mom or even with the kids, when they're like playing video games and stuff and whatever, like there's enough that makes it fun.
Yeah, and some of the dark things that I thought, that get glossed over due to the, we don't really pay attention because we're focused on these really cool special effects, the synthy music, everything kind of there. Every now and then something really cool, either audio or visually kind of pulls you out of what's happening. But like what's happening is, first of all, we have at least one. We have two humans, they're twins. They have their own connection. One of them is clearly suffering somehow without treatment, and one of them is suffering for a different way and getting treatment he doesn't need, kind of thing. And then we have a mother who has experiencing guilt and loss, and it's a holiday, she's engaged, and then like there's just a lot of deep, dark psychological things going on. And if you look at it from that perspective, it makes this movie a lot darker than it is.
Yeah.
And so you had mentioned earlier, how one of the taglines was "Not all the evil is on Elm Street," and that was connected to the Nightmare at Shadow Woods, I think you had said. Another tagline that I saw, which is my favorite one, it just says, "This Thanksgiving, it's not cranberry sauce."
Oh my God.
So anyone who didn't have any clue what the hell we were doing at the beginning of this episode, that was the tagline. This cranberry sauce thing makes an impression when you watch the movie. It really does.
Yeah, he says it about 1 million times. So, before we say get gagged, I don't forget to subscribe to us on your podcast platform of, your personal preference, whatever, or YouTube. And we do have exclusive content on YouTube that you won't find on the podcast. Rate, review, subscribe, share with your friends. Follow us on Instagram, Gag Me With a Knife Podcast. And on Twitter, it's Gag Knife Podcast. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So stay gagged with cranberry sauce. Stay gagged. Stay gagged with multiple hatchet wounds.
Stay gagged with diving board sex, and stay gagged with toasting people's engagements to glasses of milk.
Oh, and to also gag yourself on just shoving Thanksgiving leftovers into your face.
And when you're done with that, gag yourself on vacuuming while you have a glass of wine in your hand.
While you gag yourself with wine, yeah.
While you gag on wine. And I will say my final gag will be stay gagged on our month of blood here on Gag Me With a Knife podcast.
Gag on some blood.
Mm-hmm. See you guys.
Remember when you ran away and I got on my knees and begged you not to leave because I'd go berserk? Well, you left me anyhow, and then the days got worse and worse, and now you see I've gone completely out of my mind. And they're coming to take me away, ha-ha, they're coming to take me away, ho-ho, hee-hee, ha-ha, to the funny farm where life is beautiful all the time, and I'll be happy to see those nice young men in their clean white coats, and they're coming to take me away, ha-ha! You thought it was a joke, and so you laughed. You laughed when I had said that losing you would make me flip my lid. Right? You know you laughed. I heard you laugh. You laughed and laughed, and then you left. But now you know I'm utterly mad. And they're coming to take me away, ha-ha. They're coming to take me away, ho-ho, hee-hee, ha-ha. To the happy home with trees and flowers and chirping birds and basket weavers who sit and smile and twiddle their thumbs and toes, and they're coming to take me away, ha-ha. I cooked your food, I cleaned your house, and this is how you pay me back for all my kind, unselfish, loving deeds. Ha? Well, you just wait, they'll find you yet, and when they do, they'll put you in the ASPCA, you mangy mutt. And they're coming to take me away, ha-ha, they're coming to take me away, ho-ho, hee-hee, ha-ha, to the funny farm where life is beautiful all the time, and
and I'll be happy to see those nice young men in their clean white coats, and they're coming to take me away. To the happy home with trees